piece of seaweed attached to it. What's it doing here in Santa Cruz? Well, officials believe this oil, and a lot more like it, was intentionally dumped from a tanker during last week's storm by a captain who thought nature could hide his crime. California Conservation Corps workers are picking up globs of oil on beaches from Santa Cruz to Fort Ord. The oil has been identified as heavy crude from the North Slope of Alaska. So far, no marine life has been found oiled, but a similar spill last month killed several seabirds. Investigators speculate the oil was intentionally washed from the hold of a tanker on its way back to Alaska during last week's storm. In the past, tanker captains have used heavy seas to hide intentional discharges in order to hold more oil on the return trip.
This material is still pliable, so it hasn't totally solidified. You can probably smell even right now.
So it's fairly fresh.
Vapors. It's fresh enough in terms of its deposit. We know that it was recent. It's not something that's left over, say, being churned off the bottom or something of that nature. This has been deposited at sea and come ashore.
Exactly 11 years ago today, mudslides, not oil spills, were the prime concern of storm watchers. January 5th, 1982 was the date of the deadly Love Creek slide in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Today, automated rainfall and stream flow monitors are keeping watch on the mountain watershed. Alarms will sound, leading to possible evacuations if there is more than 2 inches of rain in a 6-hour period or 1/2 inch of rain in any 1 hour. There will only be 3 hours between the time of peak rainfall and peak stream flooding.
During this last month of December, we've had approximately 13 inches of rainfall in the watersheds throughout the county. So the mountains are saturated at this point, and the runoff and stream flow will rise much faster than it has in the preceding month.
The people who live in the mountains spent all day today stockpiling food and fuel in case they're cut off, and right now they're about as ready as they're ever going to be. Dave and Kate?
Thank you, Tony. Brian Sussman will be back in just a few minutes, and word on just how this storm will affect your morning commute. Kate?
Well, what could turn out to be the worst oil spill in history is in the makings off the British Isles tonight. A U.S.-owned tanker slammed into the rocks off the Shetland Islands this morning. It has been gushing crude oil ever since. Martha Teichner reports.
Environmentalists are predicting an ecological catastrophe. Oil is hemorrhaging from the crippled tanker, the Brer, oozing onto the rocks and into the sea. And there is nothing emergency crews can do to stop it until the weather improves. The Brer was carrying nearly 25 million gallons of oil, twice as much as the Exxon Valdez. The terrible sea drama began before dawn. The Brer lost its engines when the heavy seas washed into ventilation shafts. For 5 hours, the Coast Guard struggled to attach tow lines to restrain the heaving tanker, but the tide pulled it onto the rocks.
The wind was gusting from about 40 mile an hour to 70 to 80 mile an hour, and the sea state was very high, and as the vessel got progressively blown in towards the Sombra coastline, the sea state got rougher because obviously the water got shallower.
One of the most remote and sparsely populated places in the world, the Shetland Islands are rich in wildlife.
This area has some of the most diverse and rich bird life in Europe. It has many seals along the coast. It has important fisheries, both shell fisheries and offshore fisheries. This is just going to be a catastrophic disaster.
Today, special DC-3 oil dispersal planes landed at nearby Inverness, ready to spray the spill when the weather clears. The oil is light Norwegian crude. That means it's relatively easy to break up. The bad weather actually helps do the job. So the conditions that created the disaster could mitigate it. Martha Teichner, CBS News, Aberdeen, Scotland.
In Rochester, New York, police are hunting for several armed men who held up a Brinks armored car depot. They may have gotten away with as much as $10 million. 10 people were working at the depot at the time. None of them was hurt. Investigators say they have some leads to work on, including a report that tonight one of the depot's employees is missing.
Still to come, new word about how other people's smoke could give you cancer.
And meet this newborn named Georgina and find out why she's being called a miracle baby.
And still ahead, how much rain will we see from the weather system on top of us right now, and how much snow for the high Sierra, and when will it all begin? We'll have that for you later.
And then, no, this isn't Santa Claus, so why is this guy stuck in a chimney?
It's the world's most incompetent burglar, maybe. I'm not sure what he is.
you can ask of the news, one of the most important is, who brings it to you? Join the Channel 5 Eyewitness News team at 5, 6, and 10. You have questions, 5 has answers.
Lucky, the low price leader, every day.
There are lots of new TV shows this winter. TV Guide reviews each one so you can find something to watch without watching everything. Get an exclusive guide to the new season, only this week, only in TV Guide. Also, find out about the other Clinton cabinet, the inside scoop on Barbra Streisand's unexpected phone call, Michael Jackson's ultimatum, and what Reagan really said to Clinton. Plus, sports highlights and kid show reviews, only this week, only in TV Guide.
You're watching Dave McElhatton and Keith Kelly.
A major new government report says even if you don't smoke, smoke from other people could kill you or cause serious illness. The report is from the Environmental Protection Agency. After 2 years of revisions, it will be released on Thursday, and it packs a wallop. Secondhand smoke will be labeled a cancer-causing agent. Dr. Nancy Snyderman reports.
It's a document that will likely have major consequences on where smokers can and cannot light up. As one of his last acts as head of the EPA, William Riley is expected to approve a several hundred-page report which reclassifies cigarette smoke as a Group A carcinogen, in the same class with asbestos, benzene, and radon. The EPA says secondhand smoke causes 3,000 lung cancer deaths every year in non-smokers. In addition, it triggers 300,000 respiratory tract infections in children, including pneumonia, bronchitis, asthma, and middle ear problems.
This document is the first definitive report of these effects in children.
We hope that this report will provide an impetus for states and local governments to limit smoking in all public places, particularly schools and daycare centers.
Meanwhile, the tobacco industry is bracing itself for Thursday's publication. They charge the EPA with flawed analysis and playing a politically correct game against smoking.
The EPA has not included all of the studies. The studies that it has included, it is looked at in a very unorthodox manner. And it has been very biased from the beginning.
Despite the tobacco industry's opposition, the report should add pressure to smoking restrictions.
Although the EPA has no authority to regulate smoking, the sheer weight of this document is expected to trigger an avalanche of local, state, and federal laws against smoking in public places, and that will likely include a ban on smoking in the workplace, too. Dr. Nancy Snyderman, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
The government wants more information about saline breast implants before easing any restrictions on their use. Dangerous side effects such as arthritis, even cancer, have been connected to saline implants. With few exceptions, this type of implant is only allowed for reconstructive surgery. A final decision on allowing other uses won't come until next year. Still to come, the decision about where Bill and Hillary Clinton's daughter will go to school.
I'm Hank Plant at Candlestick Park with a story on the latest effort to undo the Giants lease here. That story's ahead.
Stadium.
Are you up for a challenge and a chance to win a $10,000 college scholarship? In celebration of Black History Month, Lucky Stores wants high school students to compete in the Celebrating the Community Scholarship Contest. To enter, just write about an African American in your neighborhood who has contributed to your community's growth. Entries must be 500 words or less and postmarked by January 29th. Pick up contest rules at any Lucky store or call 415-928-7974.
And now, Eyewitness News continues.
During the campaign, Bill Clinton said he supported and encouraged public education. But tonight, the president-elect has decided his daughter is going private. Bill and Hillary Clinton say they've made the best choice for their daughter Chelsea tonight, opting to send her to one of Washington, D.C.'s most prestigious private schools. But Wolf Blitzer reports that decision has some public school advocates disappointed.
During the campaign, Bill Clinton often boasted that his only daughter, Chelsea, attended this public school in Little Rock.
I don't want to embarrass her, but I'm proud of my daughter who's here with me. And in 1992, the 35th anniversary of the integration of the Little Rock schools, My daughter has just finished her 7th grade year there.
But despite his support for public school education and his opposition to tax credits or vouchers that would help families send their children to private schools, 12-year-old Chelsea will now be attending 8th grade in one of the nation's most elite private schools. Last Sunday, after spending their vacation in Hilton Head, South Carolina, Mrs. Clinton and Chelsea visited the Sidwell Friends School in Washington and decided that was where Chelsea would enroll. Tuition at the Quaker-run school runs $10,400 a year. In contrast to the high standards at Sidwell, the predominantly black D.C. public school system is widely regarded as poor and even dangerous. Still, Clinton aides knew the decision was controversial, but concluded that most American families would understand.
You can't put politics into a personal family decision, and that's what they were determined not to do. They were determined to make the right choice for the family.
Public school advocates say they still believe Clinton will support their agenda.
I'm convinced that he is, has been, and will be very strongly committed to public education, and his decision as to where to send Chelsea during this next period was based strictly on what he thought was best for Chelsea during this period of time.
Wolf Blitzer, Little Rock.
The last president with a school-age child was Jimmy Carter. His daughter Amy attended public school.
The largest freshman class to hit Congress in 44 years was sworn into active duty today.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic? That you bear true
As soon as newly re-elected Speaker of the House Thomas Foley took the oath of office, the entire House of Representatives, boasting 110 new members, was sworn in at the same time. On the other side of Capitol Hill, 13 new senators were sworn in by Vice President Dan Quayle in groups of 4. Among the new faces, California's 2 women senators, Barbara Boxer and Dianne Feinstein, and the first black woman to be ever elected to the Senate, Carol Moseley Braun of Illinois.
President Bush has delivered his final foreign policy address as Commander-in-Chief. Mr. and Mrs. Bush visited West Point Military Academy in New York this afternoon. After sitting down to lunch with the cadets, the president offered some parting views on America's military role in the global community. At one point, his voice cracked with emotion as he described a scene he witnessed during his trip to East Africa last week.
In Somalia, the young Marine, eyes filled with tears, holding the fragile arm of an emaciated child. There can be no doubt about it. The all-volunteer force is one of the true success stories of modern-day America.
The White House says President Bush is still deciding whether to address the nation on television one last time before leaving office.
Governor Pete Wilson will deliver his 3rd State of the State address tomorrow night, and he is promising to unveil an economic plan for what he calls a great California comeback. You can watch the governor's complete address here on Channel 5 tomorrow during an expanded 1-hour edition of Eyewitness News at 5.
Still to come, disturbing word about what's happening at some Bay Area parties.
Well, are we going to see the heavy rain or not? Back with the answer and rain and snow amounts in just a couple minutes.
And later, it's 225 million years old, and just wait till you see why it's so important.
Meet celebrity moms and daughters, Florence Henderson and Barbara Chase, Zsa Zsa Gabor and Francesca Hilton, Abby Dalton and Kathleen Kinmont, and the McRaes.
She doesn't approve of me. I don't approve of her either. I only let her stay 2 weeks. And I really do love my mother, despite the fact that she never lets me say anything.
Is life all that different for Hollywood mothers and daughters?
She can burp louder than anybody.
I'm Vicky.
Vicky, Wednesday at 9 on Channel 5.
Hi, I'm Ana Chavez. In support of education, KPIX and Sprint present the Bay Area Children's Art Exhibition, 100 Innovations That Shaped America. Superior firepower may have won World War II, but it was penicillin that was the real lifesaver. Developed at a crucial time during the war, it saved the lives of thousands of British and American soldiers. Find out more about this and 99 other innovations that shaped America when the Bay Area Children's Art Exhibition comes to a school near you.